What is good, guys, man? Thank y'all for tuning back into the channel, man. If you're new, hit that sub button down below, man. It don't take nothing but 1 second. If you're missing my videos, I encourage you to hit that bell once you hit that like button, okay? Once you hit that bell, it's going to say all. You want to click all so you can be notified for every video that I do drop, man. Um, and also on top of that, go follow the Instagram. The link is in the description. It's not that hard. Y'all can follow me. Y'all can message me with links to great testimonies, videos that y'all would like me to react to if I think that it's a likable video. Other than that, man, um this is a guy, man, who was a Marine and he has a hunting experience in Iraq. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the video, man.
So I don't know how crazy or unbelievable my story is, but it really happened, so I'm just going to tell it. Back in 2004, I was stationed in Ramadi, Iraq with the 2nd Battalion, 11th Marine Regiment, which was an artillery unit based out of Camp Pendleton, California. During our time there, we served as convoy security from Ramadi all the way to Baghdad for various convoys. That was our mission while we were out there. The base we were sent to was called Junction City. This was a Army, Marine, Navy compound that was across the river from the city of Ramadi. And the base we're on was a prior Iraqi police compound that we had taken over. So it was a pretty big base, several miles around the outside, high razor wire fences, outpost, artillery to respond to incoming fire, things like that. But several thousand troops stationed there. And so this was again 2004. And if you remember 2004, the Iraq War was very hostile. It was a very big year for combat. April of that year, there was a big battle in the city of Ramadi. And then in December of that year, Operation Phantom Fury is when we took the city of Fallujah itself. And that was during the time period I was there in Iraq. So just to give some background of when I was there. So to get to my story, back then when you wanted to call home, and I don't know what the protocols are now or how things go now, but when you wanted to call home, you had to go to a phone center. These were typically rooms that had about 20 phones in them that people would sign up, sign their name, and wait in line. Typically, each phone call was allowed 15 minutes. So when someone came out, they'd call the next name on the list and they'd say, hey, so and so, you're up. And you'd go in there and you punch in a calling card number that you had prepaid minutes, and then you'd call home. And you'd have 15 minutes to call as many people as you could or just stay on the phone calling home, right? So I had made a routine that at 2 a.m. I would go and make my phone calls, because 2 a.m. Iraq time was like 5 p.m. back home, something like that, but nighttime there was daytime here, type of thing. So I wasn't waking anybody up. And also the base, everyone was sleeping at night. So those phone centers were much less busy because nobody was trying to wake up at 2 a.m. to call home more often than not. So I had a 1-year-old son at the time, and I just wanted him to hear my voice. You just never knew when your last day could be out there. So I wanted to call as often as I could, just to give peace of mind to my family that everything was okay, even if it was for a 1-minute phone call. And so I'd have my alarm set for 2 a.m. every day. And at 2 a.m., I'd wake up, I'd grab my rifle, sling it over my shoulder, and begin my walk a couple hundred yards to this Army phone center to call home. And so to make this walk, you'd have to walk across this open field. There was some grass, but there was no obstructions in this field. It was an open field, desert type of environment. But other than that, there was nothing across these fields, just a worn out path from hundreds of Marines and soldiers, walking back and forth between the barracks and the phone centers. And obviously, you're in a time of war. You're not walking with flashlights or things like that. And the only light there was the moonlight, which in the desert was more than enough. It's plenty bright. It always seemed like it was a full moon, never a cloud in the sky. So I'm making my walk. I'm making my walk across this couple 100 yard journey from my barracks to the phone center. And I'm looking at the ground. I'm looking at the ground, not paying attention, just kind of looking at my next step, looking at my feet, staring at the ground, just thinking about whatever, who I'm going to call or, things like that. Well, about halfway there, I run into somebody like physically, shoulder to shoulder, and I get knocked back. I go, I get hit shoulder to shoulder, and I say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I'm immediately feeling like, "Oh my God, who did I just run into? Who did I? I'm an idiot. I'm staring at the ground." And I reach for this person's like uniform to grab something to keep them from falling, but there's nobody there. And I'm looking, and there's just no one there. And so I freeze with my arms up, like grabbing, and I'm listening for like somebody rolling in the grass or somebody.
See, a lot of y'all not gonna believe this, man, until you deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of hard to believe, but if you haven't dealt with it until you deal with it, you're gonna believe that. You know what I'm saying? I believe him. I never dealt with nothing like that, but I believe him. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back into it though.
Stumbling, but there's nobody there. And I sit there for another 10, 15 seconds. I even say hello, and there's no one there. And so I don't spend a whole lot of time because now I'm kind of like embarrassed. I'm like, I wonder if somebody is watching me like talk to myself in this open field. So I just continue walking. So I walk another 100 yards or so, and I get to the phone center. And when I get there, the door is padlocked, and there's a sign on the door that says, this phone center is out of service until further notice. So for those who were out there, who were deployed, or for those who don't know, when that happened, it was typically because there were casualties on the base that particular day or the day prior or recently. And they shut the phone centers down as a way to make sure the news of the fallen soldiers or the Marines doesn't get back to the next of kin before they could do it properly. And so it was a common thing in 2004. It seemed like every other week the phones were down 3, 4, 5 days at a time, which isn't a big deal if you're considering the alternative to being one of those casualties. And you completely respected those families and your phone call, minor inconvenience, but you would always, your heart would always be with those families who were getting that news about their loved ones. So the phone center was closed, which it often was. And so I'm walking back, mild inconvenience that I wasn't able to make my phone call, but I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what if the person I ran into, the spirit that I ran into, was a soldier, Marine, sailor who was going through their routine still of calling home, and they didn't realize that they had passed. And that's who I bumped into that day or that night on my way to make my phone call. And I've never forgotten that. And sometimes it gives me chills thinking about. I never pinpointed the day. I never pinpointed who the casualty might have been. But yeah, that's what happened to me, and it was very real, and it happened. So there's my story.
Y'all comment down below what y'all think, man. Y'all comment down below what y'all think, man. And listen, man, comment down below what y'all think. All right, man. At the end of my videos, I always say stay inspired, stay motivated, stay grinding. Until next video, I'm out of here. Peace.